Hello everyone. So in this video we will be discussing this week's lab, which is about chemical reactions and their equations. So you will be performing 4 types of chemical reactions, and then you will identify the products and balance an equation. You will write the entire balanced chemical equation. So as always, you are going to open up your lab simulation site, which is the Hayden McNeil site. You will then see that on our course homepage, I have this lab open up, so chemical reaction types and their equations. As always, you open it up by clicking the little green notebook icon, and you know, hopefully by now, the format of these labs on the Hayden McNeil site is that the first page has an intro, has an objective, has pertinent information related to the lab, and then the second page is what has the procedure, and it has the link to actually enter the lab simulation. So in this lab, you will be completing experiments 1 through 4, and then you'll be collecting data as always in this handout that I'm showing here in part 3. So some notes and tips, and then I'll go into a few more reminders and tips when I actually open up the lab sim. Make sure you're using the correct chemicals. I know this may sound like simple, but make sure it's the right thing, because otherwise, especially for this lab, you're reacting certain chemicals to learn about certain types of reactions, so you want to make sure that you actually have that reaction happen, and make sure you use the correct concentrations as well. Sometimes if you don't use high enough concentration, or if you use too high concentration, you may not get the same result. So concentration and correct chemicals, very important. Sometimes the double clicking may be a little bit glitchy for the website, the lab simulation. Just be patient with it and try again. Whenever you are using any crucible with the Bunsen burner in this lab simulation, always remember to put it right on the burner, not above it. And then I'm gonna show you this again, but make sure that you can see what's inside the crucible, and I'll show you how to toggle that on in just a second. And then I give just some descriptions on the types of products that you are looking for. So experiment 1, your product should be white colored, and then experiment 2, you should be seeing a black colored product. It goes from green to black actually, so you will know that it's complete once the green turns to black. In experiment 3, you if you use 2 grams of zinc, it may blow the top off, and you can't get the pressure, so we are going to omit that and instead just use 0.2 grams. Okay, so be aware of that when you read that on the procedure. And then finally, in experiment 4, after combining the 2 solutions, notice what's going on at the bottom of the beaker. Okay, so again, you will upload the lab as always to the assignment link where you got the handout in the first place. If you have any questions on uploading, everybody's been pretty good so far. Just always remember to save as a PDF, because sometimes I do get some strange file types uploaded that are not compatible. I don't even download them because I don't even know what's in that. Make sure it's PDF or Word. Word is okay, but honestly I prefer PDF. It's a lot easier to work with that. And if you need any assistance with Macmillan, the link is always here. Remember, you don't need to submit anything specifically on the Hayden McNeil site. You are just accessing it so that you can read the intro and read the procedure and access the sim. This is how the data collection page looks. So here in this lab, you are again completing 4 So I outline for you what type of reaction. My brain lost it there for a second. What type of reaction you're working with, so you can connect it pretty well to what's going on and what you're seeing. And I outline exactly what you're calculating for certain for some of these lines, right? Our number lines. And then at the end of each of these, you are balancing it. And you are taking some more qualitative observations as well. So color changes, anything that you're visually seeing or feeling, any type of observation that's like based off your senses, that's qualitative. So like the quality of it, the color, the shape, anything like that. Versus quantitative is about numbers. So just to give you context on what I mean by qualitative. So you're taking quantitative data measurements, and you're also taking some qualitative measurements, or observations is a better word for that. And then balancing, and same thing for all of these. Notice that you are taking temperature for certain things, pressure, so a variety of different measurements here. Okay, so now let's go to how Hayden McNeil will look. So this is what you will be able to see. Our lab 6 here. You click it, and then here you see just short definitions and examples of what each of these types of reactions looks like, and then the objective of the lab overall. Click to page 2, and as always you have the procedure and the sim itself. So if you click this, it'll open up the sim. Now I'm not gonna read step by step. There's a lot of steps, right? And I fully trust that you can take care of it. So what I instead am going to show you is just like tips and tricks that aren't, sometimes I feel like they are and sometimes they aren't necessarily outlined explicitly in the procedure. So crucible, double click it to show material in the container, right? And now you can see what's inside. So pretty sure you did that last week as well, or you have in the past, but either way, whenever you want to toggle it between showing and hiding, and you can also change the name if you wanted, you double click it and then you choose. So here I have it on show, and then remember you can always zoom in. It's super helpful that you have that. For the Erlenmeyer flask, parts of this entire procedure, you may or may not have to seal the container, have a stopper in it. So what that means is you choose closed instead. And again, I just double clicked it the same way that I did for the crucible. So that put a stopper in there. But even though there's a stopper there, you can still attach the pressure gauge, you can still attach the thermometer. So just know that you can still do that. Other than that, just remember to look at the name of your chemicals. Make sure you're using the correct ones, correct concentrations as well. And then remember that for part, let me just scroll to it because I want to make sure everybody's on the same page. For experiment 3, use 0.2 grams of zinc instead of 2. Okay, I would say those are the major tips that I have for you. And again, the Bunsen burner, make sure to put it right on the Bunsen burner, the crucible. Other than that, just make sure to include units. Definitely include units for all your measurements depending on what it is. So for mass, it would be grams. For, let's see, for temperature, in degrees Celsius. For pressure, ATM. So make sure to write your units here. I know it says it here, but write out your units as well. And that's about it. Make sure to fill everything out, balance these equations at the end. And if you have any questions at all, please let me know.